Bows, TKOs, yeah. Bows, TKOs, we got bows, TKOs, yeah. Bows, TKOs, we got bows, TKOs, yeah. Bows, TKOs.
Bows and TKOs. We are live, episode 152, coming at you from the valley. Your boy is hot, and MMA world is hot as well, as we got a ton to talk about on this weekly podcast, MMA podcast, streaming anywhere you listen to podcasts with the videos on YouTube. We have some fights that have been announced. We're going to talk just some MMA news, Ultimate Fighter, PFL, recap this weekend's Apex card, and preview this early morning Baku card this weekend. But before we jump in, rocking the USA gear, USA Soccer has clinched the round of 32. They have a game with Turkey still, but it's pretty much meaningless. Hopefully we still win. Just excited to see what we get in the round of 32. I was hoping we would at least win one knockout stage and have a competitive round of 16, but obviously there is some good countries out there. And I just got back from Montana. Got to go to a good friend of mine, Gage Martell's wedding in Great Falls, Montana. Haven't been there probably since high school. And beautiful, coming from the Philippines, Fort Lauderdale for the bachelor party, living in Phoenix. I felt like I've been in the hottest places in the world for a month, really. Go to Montana, 70 degrees a day, get there, perfectly blue sky, awesome wedding venue, great family, got to meet the bride's family. It was just a really cool experience. I got to be a groomsman, so my third time doing that. Love to do that, have some good friends in my circle. So again, congrats to Gage. Amazing weekend in Montana, had a good time. He's in his honeymoon in his first trip to an all-inclusive resort in Cancun, so I'm sure he's having a good time. But let's talk MMA. We have Dricus du Plessis, the headliner, announced against Kamaru Usman July 18th. Boy, am I pumped for that fight. I mean, shit. When was the last time Kamaru fought? If you're going to fight, stay active. Kamaru's 39 years old. He turned 39 in May. Definitely in the back half of his life, but goddamn, he looked good in a victory against Joaquin Buckley last summer, and then had a really good fight against Kamzat on short notice in October of 2023. So really hasn't been active since 2023, had a year off, 2024, fighting once in a year. I'm assuming he's got this and maybe one more, but that's going to be a fun fight because DDP is so awkward stylistically and untechnical. And DDP tries to weight bully guys, and Kamaru is going to be big. I'm just really excited to see that one. That's the main event, I believe, in OKC. August 1st, we have the rematch, Jan Blachowicz, Bogdan Guskov. Pretty sure that was the last. Bogdan might have had a fight, but they had a draw, and I wanted them to rebook it. They rebooked it. So last time they both fought was a draw in December of last year, so we get a rematch. At UFC 330, we get Jeremiah Wells and Miktabik Oralbai. That'll be a fun one. Pretty even matchup. We get Mansour Abdul Malik taking on Dustin Stoltzfus. Feel bad for Dustin there. And then August 8th, we have Dayar Nurgazai taking on Bruno Lopez, and Amanda Lemos taking on Alexa Tainara. With all that's happened in MMA this past week, Dana White announced that they are doing a final renovation of the Apex. They have a few weeks off from the Apex, plus the holiday weekend. They're going to add a new skybox there and an additional 1,000 seats. So it'll pretty much be a mini arena. As you know, they're selling tickets there. I'd love to go to a show eventually. So interesting stuff at the Apex. And then they have launched new AI rankings. Dana didn't say how they're going to do matchups. It's going to be a mix of them. But there is a whole bunch of differences. Inactive fighters such as Javier Rodriguez and others are out of the rankings. A lot of new faces in the rankings. Some people moving way up, like Nathaniel Wood. I wouldn't say I really agree with the AI rankings in all cases, but in some cases I do. I would love to understand when they're showing the fights on the telecast what ranking they're using. There's going to be a lot of confusion over the next couple weeks. So I'm just going to use the old rankings because they have them both, a toggle switch on the website, until we get some more clarity there. But the new AI rankings are out if you haven't checked them out. With the new season of Contender Series, some names off the UFC roster: Thiago Moises and Cameron Smotherman. Not surprised about Smotherman. I wish Thiago got one more chance, but again, with Contender Series starting, I'm not too shocked. And then a slew of ex-UFCers signing with the PFL. Javier Basharat, Daniel Marcos, and Ketlin Vieira is going to be taking on Chris Cyborg in her retirement match. So PFL tried to make some lifelines off the UFC. Ultimate Fighter out every Tuesday. I watched 2 episodes since I was at the wedding and just had too much going on. Episode 2, DC and Bisping still getting after each other, talking a lot of smack, getting their fighters involved. I'm enjoying it. DC definitely trying to get into fighters' heads, which is interesting. One of the things they were trying to do is a guy that headbutted a guy, cut his eye. There was an early mishap in the first open practice. They were trying to book him into a fight. DC's team said we need to get him while he's cut open. Well, my audio recorder just died on me, so I gotta buy a new one of those. That's fun. We're gonna record this anyways because I'm gonna have to ship it. It's gonna take a while, so we'll see what's going on. But anyways, DC's team was trying to overrule his coaches for picking the matchup. DC overruled them. They were pretty pissed off, but he chose, of course, a wrestler, Christian Strong, to take on Bisping's top choice, who was a striker, a scouser, named Marlon Jones. And Marlon Jones got taken down and smothered in the fight. Come to find out, Christian Strong had a pretty serious ankle injury when he was cast on The Ultimate Fighter and begged to stay on the cast. So kind of a cool story there. But DC up 2-0. Bisping kind of being in desperation mode. Puts his second best strawweight female on the line, Gigi Canuto. And in episode 3, I mean, there's not a lot to say. Gigi dominated Pakistan's Anita Karim. Seems like Anita really wasn't worth the Ultimate Fighter talent pool. All it took was one body kick, and she was done. In the episode showing her up to the fight, she actually threw up running sprints. So, doesn't seem like a UFC level talent by any means, but Gigi Canuto, I'm excited to see her dominant victory 2-1 DC over Bisping. This Friday we have PFL action in San Diego. Prelims at 4 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Main card 7 p.m. Pacific on ESPN 2. A decent card. We have Ariana Lipski da Silva taking on Jenna Bishop, 2 vets. Kasan Magomed-Sharipov taking on Joshua Weems. Abraham Babley taking on Rob Wilkinson. Alexander Shabley taking on Alfie Davis. And then AJ McKee taking on Salama Isbulaev. Isbulaev looks like a young, promising talent. We'll see how he does competing against AJ McKee. But this weekend we had UFC Fight Night Vegas 119. Tough day for the pick'ems. I went 4-6. So overall I'm at 925 wins, 454 losses, 14 no contests and draws. On the year, 145 wins, 64 losses, 3 no contests and draws. To recap this card, I mean, the prelims did have some fun moments. The main card did really all the heavy lifting. The Fili Oliveira fight got it started off right, and it was pure chaos from there. I am recapping it a 5 out of 10. Quite a few fights we did not break down. We had Levon Chokeli with a round 1 TKO over Leon Shabazian, Edmund Shabazian's little brother, and he got dominated. Slight work, like 22-second knockout. We had in what I thought was fight of the night, Gaston Bolaños with the unanimous decision over Michael Aswell Jr. I actually had Michael winning the fight, winning rounds 1 and 3, but they gave the damage from Gaston in round 1 over the volume of Michael, and I think Michael was winning 4 minutes of that fight, so I'm a little shocked, but tough loss for Aswell. Nice upset, we had Mitch Raposo with a split decision victory over Alan Nascimento, taking him down over and over. We had Bia Mosquito with a round 1 submission via armbar over Melissa Mullins. And Murtazali Magomedov with a round 1 submission via twister over Melissa Bogdasarian, but it was a unique twister finish that we haven't seen, and he said his brother's been helping with him doing that technique at camp, which is interesting. But kicking it off in the prelims, I got this fight wrong. Luana Santos with the unanimous decision over Karol Rosa. And I figured Luana would look for takedowns in this fight, but I did not think she would just sell out on the concept and do it with more of a traditional wrestling style, not judo throws. Karol did a good job defending for majority of the first round. I mean, Luana went right at Rosa and had her up against the cage. Luana did eventually get a takedown. Rosa did make her pay when she was up against the cage with some nice elbows and some good strikes. And I figured the energy Luana exhausted to get that takedown at the end of round 1 would slow her down. Well, round 2, Luana did look somewhat tired. They were exchanging from distance, but Karol was landing good kicks and was the aggressor in the round. No major moments, but I had Rosa winning round 2 for a winner takes all round 3, but all 3 judges scored it unanimous for Luana in each round. Round 3, Santos had probably recovered some energy and was fresh enough to get a takedown early in the round. Rosa wasn't able to fight off her back and keep the fight standing. She did get up when she got taken down a couple times, but didn't do enough. But a massive win, although not the most impressive for Luana. She's right in the top of the division. And Karol looked like the more advanced striker, but she was smothered and tired from Santos' action. Statistically, Karol landed 126 total strikes, only 7 significant. Luana landed 110 total, only 9 significant. And she only had 2 takedowns and 10 attempts. So again, Karol was defending as good as she could have. But Luana, when she had him, she kept her down. 12 minutes and 21 seconds of control time. So Luana now extends that winning streak to 3. She's 4-1 since 2024. She moves up 2 spots in the rankings to number 9. And Karol starts a new losing streak. She is 2-2 since 2024. She drops 3 spots to number 11. She does move down 2 spots to number 10 in the AI rankings. So what's next? I'd like to see Luana and Eileen Perez. I think that's a fun matchup. And for Karol, how about Bia Mesquita, who also won on this card? Moving on, probably the biggest upset of the day. Kevin Borjas with the unanimous decision over the undefeated Andrey Lima. And what a wild upset here. I mean, not only did Andrey come out very aggressively as expected, but Kevin just worked those counter shots brilliantly. He was the faster striker with the faster hands, and he landed some big damaging shots early in the fight. In round 2, both men kicked at the same time, and Andrey kind of hit him right up under the cup. It looked pretty bad. Kevin was down for the full 4 minutes and 45 seconds. They only get 5 minutes. It looked like the fight was going to stop. He stood up and continued the fight, and I'm sure he was happy that he did that. Because right after that, he went at Andrey and started pushing him back and landed some good shots to go up 2-0. In the final round, the undefeated Lima needed to get a finish, and he was aggressive, but Kevin still landed some nice counter shots based off of his aggression. The final minute, Borjas was just trying to kind of coast to victory. He was circling around a lot. Lima couldn't chase him down, couldn't get the finish, and Andrey wasn't able to close in to attempt takedowns throughout the fight. That was the big story for me. He didn't have any attempts until the 3rd and final round, which is a big shocker in my mind. Andrey needed to dip into the grappling well a lot more. I thought he should have looked for him early and often, especially when he's getting pieced up by Kevin striking. But Borjas did miss weight in this fight. If he would have lost, I think he probably would have been cut. It'll be interesting to see what the UFC does, but it's a huge win for him, beating an undefeated fighter, and is probably going to allow him to keep a spot in the UFC. And a learning moment for Andrey. Shows that he has a long ways to go in the striking, and if he wants to continue to win, he's going to have to rely on that grappling. Statistically, Andrey landed 58 total strikes, 51 of them significant. He was 0 for 2 in takedowns, but had 1 minute and 41 seconds of control time. And Kevin landed 52 total strikes, 51 of them significant. He was 0 for 1 in takedown attempts. So Kevin ends that 2-fight losing streak. He starts a new winning streak. He's 2-3 since 2024. And Andrey suffers his first pro loss, ends his 11-fight winning streak, but he is 5-1 in the UFC. So what's next? I think Kevin and Mitch Raposo, who we spoke about winning by split decision, is the fight to make. And for Andrey, how about Nyanjargal Tumendemberil? Moving into the main card, what a banger here. We had Vinicius Oliveira with a round 2 TKO over Andrey Fili. I mean, what a featherweight debut by Oliveira. This was also a short notice fight by Andrey, but Oliveira loaded up and threw with 100% power every strike he had. Nasty demeanor behind it. Majority of his attacks were brutal calf kicks to the lead leg of Andrey. And throughout the fight, Andrey's leg was getting pretty chewed up, especially by the end of the first round. But he did outlast the early storm in the first round with good defense and took advantage. Nice tight defense, just bobbing and weaving, kind of taking the shots. And taking advantage of Vinicius's crazy high movement style with his hands down. He's just kind of bobbing and weaving, Yuri Prohaska style. But Andrey had Vinicius rocked and landed a absolute nasty body kick. One of the loudest body kicks I've ever heard. Helps that it was in the apex. And Oliveira was up against the cage like invisible pain. He didn't really pounce on him after that, which I'm shocked that he didn't. I think he should have. But he did continue to fire body kicks after a few seconds and body strikes, and Vinicius looked like he was hurting bad. I don't know how Vinicius was able to shrug that off and continue to fight, but credit to him and his toughness. He was down round 1. It was very close, and he had a ton of success. But round 2, Vinicius didn't show any cardio issues. We've seemed to come to know that he'll tire out when throwing that hard in bantamweight, so it seems like featherweight's a good home for him. And he kept launching those nasty leg kicks. It forced Andrey to switch stances throughout the fight. But the biggest difference in this fight was that Andrey didn't throw enough volume to push Vinicius back. Oliveira didn't seem to respect the power that Andrey had coming his way, so he continued to plot forward with his hands down, throwing those nasty kicks and strikes. He was able to get Andrey up against the cage and unleash on him, which had Andrey covering up, and he wasn't able to fight back with like 4 seconds left on the clock. You hate to see a finish so close to the bell, but the official called the fight. There was definitely some sketchy elbows that looked to be the back of the head of Andrey. We had this issue at the White House. What's really back of the head, I don't know. I think it's literally like a 4-inch gap that's right in the brain stem. And, it's pretty debatable how they're going to stop a fight with that. It definitely needs to be something that's reviewed further. But, it's tough. You take a fight on short notice. You take a chance against a good, young, up-and-coming guy. Those strikes to the back of the head. But Vinicius was having his way in this fight. There was no doubt about it. So, massive win for Vinicius. He did look big and powerful at 145. Andrey now in a tough spot. Probably closer to his coaching career than fighting in the rankings again. Statistically, Vinicius landed 105 total and significant strikes with the knockdown. He was 0 for 1 in takedowns. Andrey landed 40 total and significant strikes while going 0 for 1 in takedown attempts. So Vinicius starts a new winning streak in his featherweight debut. He's 5-1 since 2024. He's been active. And Andrey extends his losing streak to 2. He's 2-4 since 2024. So what's next? I say book a banger. Vinicius Oliveira and Joanderson Brito. And for Andrey, how about a showdown with Julian Rosa? Moving on, we had another fight I got wrong. Christian Rodriguez with a round 1 submission via guillotine choke over Hyder Amil. And this one didn't last long, but it was fun while it lasted. Both of these guys came at each other with a chaotic pace. Christian was able to get a takedown, and as Hyder battled out of it after a while, landed a massive shot that sat Hyder down. He immediately jumped on his neck and got a quick tap. Tough loss for Hyder. At 36 years old, he's been battling back, had a nice win streak. Now a few losses in a row. He's kind of in no man's land. But a massive statement victory for Christian. Christian's only 28. He has an impressive resume beating very high-level prospects, and he's about to hit his prime. But statistically, Hyder landed 23 total and significant strikes. He was 0 for 1 in takedowns. Christian landed 23 total, 20 significant. He had 1 takedown and 3 attempts with a submission attempt and a knockdown. So Christian starts a new winning streak. He's 3-3 since 2024. Hyder extends his losing streak to 3. He's also 3-3 since 2024. So again, Christian still somewhat young. He's had stiff competition. I'd like to see him fight Danny Silva. And for Hyder, he could square up with Nate Landwehr. That's an absolute banger. Moving on in the co-main, we had Navajo Stirling with a round 2 TKO over Ion Cutelaba. Now I figured Ion was going to put Navajo in deep waters and pressure him to test his grappling. All of that came true in this fight, but I think Cutelaba went so hard and sold out on a guillotine that he had really deep in round 1 that it slowed him in round 2. Navajo did a fantastic job just kind of rolling with the punches and dealing with the bad positions where the fight took place. But he was able to fight out of them and not let Cutelaba get away with bad technique. Because as he got tired in round 2, he got dominant positions, bad technique, bad cardio. Navajo made him pay. And in round 2, it became a big issue to the point where it seemed like Cutelaba just gassed out. He sat in the corner by the post, covered up, and it seemed like he just gave up. He just sat there while Navajo was 5 feet away. Navajo came in, made him pay for it, got the victory. And that's why I can't ever pick with Cutelaba because of those things. I thought Cutelaba was a live dog in the beginning of the fight, seemed like he was on his way to victory. But you can't be doing that. You've been in the UFC for years. You got to be prepared and have better cardio or preserve your energy better. But hey, another nice win for Navajo. I think Cutelaba exposed a lot of holes in his game. But for Ion, you got to have a better 15-minute game plan. He always has lapses of judgment and loses fights he shouldn't. But statistically, Cutelaba landed 58 total strikes, 19 of them significant. He did have 5 takedowns and 7 attempts, a submission attempt, 2 reversals, and 3 minutes and 1 second of control time. So basically in a round through 60 strikes, 5 takedowns, a submission, 2 reversals. I mean, that's a lot of energy exposed. And Navajo landed 59 total strikes, 52 of them significant. He was 0 for 1 in takedowns with 2 reversals and a minute and 53 seconds of control time. So Navajo still undefeated, extends that winning streak to 10, 6-0 in the UFC. And Ion starts a new losing streak. He's 3-3 since 2024. So what's next? I mean, there's not a lot of talent in the top of the light heavyweight division available. So I think Navajo and Modestas Bukauskas is the perfect match. And for Ion, how about a fight with Jimmy Crute? Then in the main event, a little bit of a shocker, especially with how the fight started. Another fight I got wrong. We had Manel Kape with a round 3 TKO over Kyoji Horiguchi in their rematch. I mean, the fight started to play out as I expected. Kyoji was initiating the fight, bouncing in and out, getting shots and takedowns when he wanted, and was clearly in the zone. Manel was just measured and throwing bombs when Kyoji was in close for too long. Kyoji actually had Manel rocked in round 2 and was up 2 rounds due to volume and landing more significant strikes. Manel seemed to be in trouble, especially knowing that he tires out going into the later rounds. But in round 3, he landed a massive left that sat Kyoji down, and when he tried to wrestle back up, Manel landed like a shovel uppercut through his hands, and it put him down. That was a kill shot. They called the fight. Manel wins the rematch after 9 years, as he always wins due to his power and kill shot potential. It's a wild game, and now Manel is right there for a title shot. Crazy how that plays out. I feel bad for Horiguchi, returned to the UFC that close to a title shot, but Horiguchi still showcased plenty of high-level talent, that he has lots of fight left. I expect him to rebound. Statistically, Manel landed 47 total strikes, 19 of them significant with a knockdown. Kyoji landed 53 total, 27 of them significant. He had 2 takedowns and 5 attempts and 4 minutes of control time. So Manel extends that winning streak to 4. He's 4-1 since 2024. Kyoji ends his 7-fight winning streak. He starts a new losing streak. He's 2-1 in his UFC return. So what's next? Well, I think Alexandre and Joshua Van is next. So I think Manel's just going to wait out for the winner. And for Kyoji, a fight with Tatsuro Taira would be absolutely bonkers. I'm not sure if they will fight each other since they're both Japanese. If that's the case, I think the best bet is to fight the winner of the Royval-Yoni Kavanaugh fight. But yeah, fun main card. A lot of fights I got wrong. Navajo showing persistence. Vinicius is going to be a problem at featherweight. C-Rod doing his thing. Navajo still undefeated. But this weekend, early action. UFC Baku, Azerbaijan. Prelims at 6 a.m. Pacific, main card 9 a.m. Pacific, all on Paramount Plus. The prelims do have a lot of new names, a lot of young fighters. You know, there is some good matchmaking that should deliver some quality fights early. But I'm excited to see Daniil Donchenko and Nursulton Ruziboev back. The main card has great matchmaking. It should be full of violence. I expect a lot of similarities to the main card that happened this weekend with a ton of violence and finishes. For that reason, I am previewing it a 6 out of 10. And it's always fun when they go to countries like Baku, Azerbaijan. Some good fights we won't talk about. Ultimate Fighter alum Daniil Donchenko taking on Cage Warriors alum Theodore Bergen. This is his UFC debut. We have LFA alum Farman Hassanov taking on Cage Fury alum Eric Noland. So we're going to preview 3-4 prelim fights. So quite a big card here. We got Gene Matsumoto, 26 years old with a 17-2 record, taking on Bekzat, the Turin Warrior, Almakhan, 28 years old with a 12-3 record. Now the bantamweight division showing off again, just showcasing how much young talent they have. Both men have showed a bunch of promise and have already fought stiff competition. Jean might be younger, but he is a stud with great experience. Bekzat has struggled against good grapplers, and Jean has offensive grappling that is as good as anyone's right now, backed with his insane cardio motor. I think it's Jean. Jean is continuing to stay active. He has showed improvement throughout his fights. I'm excited for this fight. Breaking it down, Jean is an LFA and Contender Series alum. He's on a 1-fight losing streak, 3-2 since 2024. 6 of his 17 wins are via submission. Now, Bekzat has an orthodox stance. He's an Octagon and UAE Warriors alum. He's on a 1-fight losing streak and is 1-2 in the UFC. 10 of his 12 wins are via knockout. Now, Bekzat was outstruck and out-game-planned by Alexandre Topuria, but besides that, he was grappled to death by a very good Umar Nurmagomedov in his debut, and then he pretty much starts the rest of his opponents. Jean hasn't been finished, and he could be, but I don't think he does. I think he's going to put a pace on him and outscore him after 15 minutes, wear him down, and get a submission victory. Anything is possible with the power striker. We learned that in the main event last week with Manel Kape. I just don't see that happening. For that, I'm taking Gene Silva. We are putting him on that parlay. We marking that ish down, and we getting that bread. Moving on. We have Javier Blair Reyes, 32 years old with a 23-5 record, taking on Kaan Genghis Ofli, 33 years old with a 14-4-1 record. Now this fight is two men in their primes. They need to keep the momentum going if they want to have a chance moving into the upper echelon of the featherweight division. You know, Kaan looked like he was on his way out about a year ago. Now he kind of has some life into him, although he did lose his last fight. Javier has looked good since his Contender Series fight and already has a win in 2026. Breaking this down, Javier is an LFA and Contender Series alum. He's on a 3-fight winning streak, 2-0 in the UFC. 11 of his 23 wins are via knockout, 8 via submission, so 19 of his 23 wins via finish. He also has a 7-inch reach and a 6-inch leg reach advantage. Now, Kaan is a brave UAE Warriors and Ultimate Fighter alum. He's on a 2-fight winning streak, 2-2 in the UFC. 6 of his 13 wins are via submission. Now, both men are well-rounded, but I think Javier is the better striker. Reyes is also full of confidence after back-to-back first-round finishes. You know, Kaan has been in deep waters many times, and he's resilient, but that won't be enough in this fight. He's going to need to get takedowns early and often to try to wear on Javier, but I think it's going to be difficult for him to get a submission because Javier has good BJJ skills. For that reason, I'm taking Javier Reyes. We are putting him on that parlay. We marking that ish down, and we getting that bread. Moving on, another sick fight. We get Nursulton Black Ruziboev. 32 years old with a 36-9-2 record, taking on Andrey Pulyaev, 28 years old with a 10-3 record. Now, Andrey has had a brutal start to his UFC career. He's not even in his prime yet. They've booked him against the best. The UFC have put him against Christian Leroy Duncan, Attaba Gautier, and now Ruziboev. Talk about murderer's row. Nursulton has really dominated his opponents until he got grappled to death when he fought Joaquin Buckley. You know, Andrey isn't going to do that. He's going to make it a fun kickboxing fight. This fight has fight of the night potential. I expect it to be around 1 or 2 finish. Breaking this down, Nursulton has an orthodox stance. He trains out of Renzo Gracie Fili. He has a purple belt in BJJ. He's a Fight Nights Global Brave and Octagon alum. He's on a 2-fight winning streak, 3-1 since 2024. 20 of his 36 wins are via submission, 13 via knockout, so 33 of his 36 wins are via finish. And he also has a 2.5-inch leg reach advantage. Now, Andrey is a Contender Series alum. He's on a 1-fight losing streak, 2-2 in the UFC. 6 of his 10 wins are via knockout, and he has a 2.5-inch reach advantage. Now, Nursulton has been off for more than a year. Ideally, he's been working on his craft, trying to improve, but he really is going to be the best fighter and version of himself at 36 years old. But he has moved to training with Fili, which is a grappling-heavy team. I'm excited to see what he showcases in this fight because Andrey is no pushover. He hasn't been finished in the UFC, and he's fought some heavy hitters. I think Nursulton has more power. He is more well-rounded, but Pulyaev is not afraid to meet in the middle and make it a fight. For the sake of picking, I am taking Nursulton Ruziboev. We are putting him on that parlay. We marking that ish down, and we getting that bread. Pulyaev is a fun dog bet, just for fun if you want, though. Still in the prelims, we have Abdul Rahman the Hunter Yakyayev, 25 years old with an undefeated 9-0 record, taking on Julius Juicebox Walker, 26 years old with a 7-2 record. Now, both of these men have potential, but they are very green fighters. Julius has been put up against stiffer competition, and he was competitive in a fight against a solid Alonzo Menefield. Abdul has only been out of the first round twice as a pro. He's been very dominant with his striking, and he's pretty well-rounded. Julius is a competitive, tall foe as well, so I do expect to see another high-paced collision course in this fight. Breaking this down, Abdul is a Contender Series alum. He's undefeated on that 9-fight winning streak, 3-0 in the UFC. 5 of his 9 wins are via submission, 3 via knockout, so 8 of his 9 wins via finish. And Julius is on a 1-fight losing streak. He's 1-2 in the UFC. 4 of his 7 wins are via knockout, 2 via submission, so 6 of his 7 wins via finish. Again, these guys are finishers. Now, Julius has showcased improved grappling since he's come to the UFC, but Abdul will dominate him in that department if it goes there. He is going to have to find ways to keep Abdul at distance and make him pay when he closes in. I think this is going to be another round 1 or 2 finish, and I'm taking Abdul Rahman Yakyayev. We are putting him on that parlay. We marking that ish down, and we getting that bread. Moving on to the main card. Let's pull up these odds real quick. See if any of these are too big. So Jean is is minus 160. Danil minus 460. Javier minus 230. Nursulton minus 210. Yakyev almost too big at minus 600. But I'm not taking any dogs so far. So we have Abus Magomedov, 35 years old with a 28-7-1 record, taking on Mikhail Pusar Olegcheshuk, 31 years old with a 22-9-1 record. Now Mikhail is just now hitting his prime at 31 years old, and he's on a roll, but he hasn't faced high-level competition. I haven't been overly impressed with Abus. He was thought highly when he signed with the UFC, but he has much more of a well-rounded game than Mikhail does. Abus has solid grappling and isn't as quick with his hands as Mikhail, but he still does have kickboxing skills, so this should be fun. Breaking it down, Abus is a PFL and KSW alum. He's on a one-fight losing streak, 3-1 since 2024. 14 of his 28 wins are via knockout, 8 via submission, so 22 of his 28 wins via finish. 3 of his 7 losses are via submission, but he does have a 4-inch reach and a 3-inch leg reach advantage. Mikhail trains out of Fighting Nerds. He's got a brown belt in BJJ. 2 of his last 4 fights have been Fight of the Night. He's showing up. He's showing out. He has the third most first-round knockouts in UFC history with 8 of them things. He has the most knockdowns landed in the shortest span in a bout. He had 3 knockdowns in 44 seconds against Gadzimurad and Tigulov. He's on a 3-fight winning streak, 3-3 since 2024. 16 of his 22 wins are via knockout, 6 of his 9 losses via submission. Now Mikhail is going to have to find a way to mix in strikes well and not get pushed back. He is a guy that does a lot better pushing forward, so he can't be in a position to be cut off against the cage and being taken down. Abus is going to try to circle away from Mikhail's power hand and bring a bunch of kicks to mix things up and not let Mikhail get comfortable. For the sake of picking, I'm taking Abus Magomedov, but I'm avoiding this on any parlays. Moving on, another doozy here. We get Ikram Aliskerov, 33 years old with a 17-2 record, taking on Bruno the Hulk Fajeda, 33 years old with a 15-3 record. I think this is going to be a fun fight. I think Bruno's very live as an underdog. I almost picked him originally. And I think it's much closer than the odds suggest. The odds have Bruno at a plus 240 underdog. You know, Bruno, for the most part, has been kill or be killed in the UFC. Ikram's best win is probably his last against Jungyoung Park, where he grappled his way to victory. He has a bunch of round 1 knockouts as well as Bruno. Bruno lost to Abus Magomedov because he was grappled, but he has improved his defense since. Bruno was viciously knocked out only 3.5 months ago, so I'm worried he's rushing his return, and that has me hesitant to pick him. Breaking this down, Ikram has a Sambo style. He has a southpaw stance. He won gold in the 2016 and 2013 World Sambo Championships. He's on a 2-fight winning streak and is 2-1 since 2024. 7 of his 17 wins are via knockout, 5 via submission, so 12 of his 17 wins are via finish. Both of his losses are via knockout, and he has a 4-inch reach advantage. Now, Bruno is a Contender Series alum. He's on a 1-fight losing streak, 5-2 since 2024. 9 of his 15 wins are via knockout, 5 via submission, so 14 of his 15 wins are via finish. 2 of his 3 losses are via knockout. Now, I really think Ikram's going to try to keep Bruno at distance, using his jab, using that length advantage, and he's going to throw a lot of kicks up the middle. Once Bruno tries to rush in, he will mix in grappling, and if he is successful taking him down, I think it'll go a long way in this fight towards winning. If Bruno defends and this fight goes late, this could be a very fun and exciting fight. I could even see Bruno potentially getting a finish, but for the sake of picking, I'm taking Ikram Aliskerov, but I'm avoiding this on parlays. Bruno and, who else did I say? And Andrey Pulyaev are fun dogs if you want to sprinkle some money there. This is another fun dogfight. We got Asu Zulfikar Almabayev, 32 years old with a 23-3 record and the number 8 next to his name, taking on Charles Energy Johnson, 35 years old with a 19-8 record and the number 14 next to his name. I was at odds with this fight as well. Either Asu is going to take Charles down over and over and potentially get a submission, or Charles is going to defend well, get back up, and tire Asu out. He will stick and move, stay at range, and box up Asu. Charles has been super active. This is his 3rd fight this year, so I worry that's going to wear on his body because he's not a spring chicken at 35. Breaking it down, Asu has an orthodox stance. He's a Fight Nights Global, M1 alum and former champ, and Brave alum. He's on a 2-fight winning streak, 5-1 since 2024. 10 of his 23 wins are via submission. 2 of his 3 losses are via knockout. Now, Charles trains out of Murcielago MMA. He has a blue belt in BJJ. He's an LFA alum and former champion. He's on a 1-fight winning streak, 6-2 since 2024. 8 of his 19 wins are via knockout. He has a 5-inch reach and a 4-inch leg reach advantage. Again, if this wasn't Charles' 3rd fight this year, it's only June, I'd probably pick him. I'm rooting for him in this fight. I just think Asu, who is younger, more fresh, is going to grapple his way to victory. Charles is going to have to bring his best takedown defense and not overswing and get overzealous, which he does sometimes. He is a live dog here. I just can't pick him. So for the sake of picking, I'm taking Asu Almabayev, but I'm avoiding this on any parlays. A few fun dog sprinkles if you're looking for some extra bread. Moving on, we have Nazim Black Wolf Sadikov, 32 years old with an 11-2-1 record, taking on Mathus Jaguar Camille, 25 years old with a 10-3 record. This is kind of one of those weird bookings. I'm guessing they needed to book this fight for Nazim to fight on Baku. That was probably their best option. You know, Mathus is still very green. He's coming off his first UFC victory, and he was finished in round 2 against Gabe Green only last year. And I'm not sure why they would give him a killer in the middle of his prime after that. The Black Wolf is going to be hungry. He's going to try to avenge his last loss. He had an amazing showdown in Baku last year against Nicholas Mota. Absolutely bonkers. Breaking this down, Nazim, 3 of his last 6 fights have been fight of the night or performance of the night. He even got a double bonus in Baku. He's showing up. He's showing out. He's on a 1-fight losing streak, 2-1 since 2025. Hasn't been very active. 8 of his 11 wins are via knockout. Now, Mathus is a Fury UFC and Tough Enough alum. He's on a 1-fight winning streak and even 1-1 in the UFC. 4 of his 10 wins are via knockout. All 3 of his losses are via submission. Now, Nazim suffered his first loss in the UFC after being grappled to death by Mathus, but he got his first UFC victory by getting 5 takedowns against Vyacheslav Borjas. So it is possible he can leverage that in this fight. I don't think he's going to be able to hold Sadikov down, and I think Nazim has his way on the feet as long as it stays there with much more technique and power. For that reason, I'm taking Nazim Sadikov. We are putting him on that parlay. We marking that ish down, and we getting that bread. Moving on in the co-main event. I was so happy when they booked this. This was a Matchmaker Monday special that just had to be done. We get Shara Bullet Magomedov, 32 years old with a 16-1 record, taking on Michel the Demolidor Pajeda, 32 years old with a 32-14-2 record. This is a fight you want to see. It's going to be chaotic, spinning attacks, flying knees, wild kickboxing exchanges. I would be shocked if this fight went 15 minutes, and if it does, both men are going to be completely exhausted. Both men have struggled against the upper echelon in competition, but they have the potential to finish anyone. Whoever wins here will be back in the mix and will have their best win on their resume in their primes, so there is a lot on the line here. Breaking it down, Shara has a Muay Thai background. 4 of his 6 UFC fights have been fight of the night or performance of the night. He shows up, he shows out. He's on a 1-fight winning streak, 4-1 since 2024. 12 of his 16 wins are via knockout. Michel trains out of Extreme Couture. He's a Jungle Fight alum. 4 of his last 8 fights have been performance of the night or fight of the night. He shows up, he shows out. And 11 of his 32 wins are via knockout. Now I expect both men to meet in the middle, mix in good amount of lower leg kicks. I do think Shara is the faster striker, but both men have serious power in their hands. Shara also has better body and high kicks, so if it does go to a decision, I favor him, especially because Michel goes so hard, he struggles the last 15 minutes. And much like Ion Cutelaba, he has lapses. He'll do an M&R roll or some weird shit when he doesn't need to and tire himself out even more. For that reason, I'm taking Shara Magomedov. We are putting him on that parlay. We marking that ish down, and we getting that bread. Moving on to the main event. A ton of high stakes in this one. This one's an awesome fight as well. Very good matchmaking on this card. We get Rafael Ataman Fiziev, 33 years old with a 13-5 record and the number 11 next to his name. He's taken on Manuel El Loco Torres, 31 years old with a 17-3 record and the number 15 next to his name. Now this is intriguing because Manuel is full of confidence. He's had consecutive first-round finishes against quality competition, and he has never seen a second round in the UFC. He's taking on one of the most skilled fighters in the UFC, in my opinion, but definitely the most skilled fighter that he's fought so far. And Rafael may have lost some confidence because he's been put up against the gauntlet, the best the UFC has to offer since 2022, including the new champ Justin Gaethje twice. Rafael is such a skilled kickboxer and is so fast and powerful, he's going to provide a ton of problems for Manuel. To defeat Rafael, the best thing to do is to pressure him and force him to fight off his back foot, and that's exactly what Manuel has been doing. Manuel's only loss was to Ignacio Bahamondes, who Fiziev defeated via decision, but he was caught for being too aggressive. I could see Rafael using Manuel's aggression against him in this fight as well. Breaking it down, Rafael has a Muay Thai style. He trains out of Tiger Muay Thai and Kill Cliff FC. He has a blue belt in BJJ. He won bronze in the 2016 Muay Thai World Championships. 7 of his 10 fights have been fight of the night or performance of the night. This guy shows up, he shows out. One of my favorite fighters to watch. He's a Titan FC alum. He's on a 1-fight losing streak, 1-4 since 2023. He was the 2021 Breakout Fighter of the Year. 8 of his 13 wins are via knockout. 3 of his 5 losses are also via knockout. So to knock out or be knocked out. Now Manuel has a Muay Thai style. He has an orthodox stance. 5 of his 7 UFC fights have been performance of the night. He's showing up, he's showing out. He has the shortest average fight time in UFC lightweight history, 2 minutes and 34 seconds. He has the most knockdowns per 15 minutes in lightweight history at 3.51. He has the 3rd most significant strikes landed per minute in UFC lightweight history at 7.25. He's a Contender Series alum. He's on a 2-fight winning streak, 3-1 since 2024. 9 of his 17 wins are via knockout, 7 via submission, so 16 of his 17 wins via finish. Sheesh! And 2 of his 3 losses are via submission. Now this is another very hard fight to pick. You know, Manuel is going to go for the kill. Again, he's young and full of confidence. I just think Rafael is so damn skilled that he's going to find a way. And if he could weather the storm in the first round and go deeper into the rounds, I think it will favor him greatly. And if it goes into 3, 4, and 5, Torres has never seen that before. I hope this goes more than 1 round because it will be an amazing scrap, but I also want to see what Manuel can do later in the fight. For the sake of picking, I'm taking Rafael Fiziev. It's pretty much a pick'em fight. but I'm avoiding this on any parlay possible. Sick card though, early morning action. Like I always say, wake up to a little Irish coffee, get your breakfast in. I'm finishing a 72-hour fast, so it'll be good to eat food again. But we have some good ones, man. I'm excited for it. Gene Matsumoto fight's good. We have the Nursulton fight, the Yakeyev fight, Abus and Olasheshuk, Ikram Faheda, Asu Charles Johnson, Nazim always puts on a show. The Shara Bullet, Michelle Pajeda, absolutely crazy fight. And then the main event. But enjoy it because we get a week off for the 4th of July holiday. Then the UFC comes back with 4 consecutive weeks of action. And it comes back with one hell of a doozy. Potential card of the year. UFC 39 International Fight Week in Viva Las Vegas with the return of the Mac, Conor McGregor, taking on Max Holloway, 4th ranked right now. I can't wait for that one. I'm your host, Shane Gillette. Go USA! See you next